Okay, let's unpack this. I mean, just look around you, right?
Yep.
Digital disruption isn't some like abstract idea anymore. It's really woven into our daily lives now.
Oh, absolutely. You see it everywhere.
Yeah, from the apps on your phone, managing your smart home,
Yeah.
to these super complex logistics that get stuff to your door, technology is just fundamentally rewiring whole industries.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, guess what? Finance, the bedrock of basically every business. It's not immune.
Mhm.
Not at all. These same powerful technologies, especially the crazy advancements we're seeing in artificial intelligence, they're landing right in the finance function.
And they're bringing changes that are, well, they're nothing short of transformative, really.
Exactly. So this deep dive, it's all about understanding that dramatic digital shift.
Mhm.
What is the world of finance actually going to look like? In the very near future, we're talking 2025, which is practically breathing down our necks,
Right around the corner.
and then looking out a bit further. How is technology changing not just the tools, but the very nature of the work itself?
Yeah, the what and the how.
To help us navigate this evolving landscape, we've gathered some really insightful material. We're going to be digging into research looking at the state of generative AI in finance, some forward-looking articles on the broader digital trends hitting the sector, and perspectives that lay out some, frankly, pretty compelling predictions for finance in 2025.
And our mission today, really tailored specifically for you, the listener, is to boil down the most important nuggets of knowledge, the key insights from all this great material.
Hmm.
We want to give you a clear, kind of practical picture of where finance is headed. What are the technologies that are actually making a difference? What does this huge shift mean for the people in finance? Their skills, their roles, their careers?
Yeah, that's critical.
And maybe most importantly, what does it mean for the businesses they support? The value finance can deliver. Why should you care? Well, because these changes aren't just theory. They're not years away. They are impacting organizations right now.
Right now.
They're already changing the game in terms of efficiency, accuracy, and, the potential for finance to be that truly strategic partner everyone talks about.
Exactly. It's not just like another IT project.
Yeah.
It's a fundamental rethinking of the whole finance function. So settle in. We're going to dive deep into the details provided by this research, maybe uncover some surprising facts about the sheer speed and scale of this transformation,
Yeah, there are definitely some eye-openers in there.
and hopefully spark some of those aha moments that help you really understand the future of finance. Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
All right, so let's start by setting the scene, maybe painting a picture of the finance landscape as we head into 2025. The research we've looked at is absolutely unanimous on this point. Digital transformation. It's not optional anymore, not a nice to have.
No way. It's an absolute imperative if you want to survive and thrive, that is.
Right, we're talking about meeting these increasingly complex compliance requirements, driving operational efficiency in a world that just demands more speed and, frankly, less cost.
Always less cost.
And critically, enabling faster, more accurate, and ultimately, just better decision-making across the entire business.
And what's particularly striking, maybe a little bit daunting even, is the picture some of the research paints based on survey data comparing estimates for 2025 against, well, the realities of 2024.
Yeah.
They highlight this core paradox, this tension that finance leaders seem to grapple with year after year, but it feels like it's getting more intense.
What's the paradox?
Okay, here it is. The total finance workload. It's expected to increase pretty significantly, actually, projected to go up by about 4.1%.
Okay, 4.1% more work. That makes sense. Businesses are more complex, global.
Demands are up.
Right, the business is asking finance to do more. More reporting, more analysis, more support, handling trickier transactions.
Got it.
But, and here's the kicker, at the exact same time, the traditional resources, they're expected to shrink.
Shrink. How?
Staffing levels, measured
no.
in full-time equivalents,
Yeah.
FTEs, they're projected to actually decrease by 0.8%.
Decrease. Wow. And finance operating budgets. Also expected to go down by 0.8%.
Whoa, hang on. So finance is being asked to handle a 4.1% increase in workload with nearly 1% fewer staff and almost 1% less budget.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't sound like doing more with less. That sounds like trying to defy gravity.
It certainly ramps up the pressure, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The research quantifies this tension, this fundamental challenge. They call it the efficiency gap or the productivity gap.
Okay, the productivity.
And for 2025, they project this gap to be 4.9%. Just think about what that means for a finance team on the ground.
Yeah.
It means they're expected to deliver almost 5% more output, more finished work, more value with demonstrably fewer people and less money allocated to the function itself. It's a real pressure cooker environment.
So how on earth, I mean, if you can't hire more people or spend more money, how do you close a nearly 5% productivity gap in just 1 year?
Well, that's where the technology investment piece comes in, and that's where the strategic gamble really lies.
Okay.
Finance technology spend is expected to increase by a pretty healthy 3.5%.
All right, so spending is going up on tech.
Yes. And interestingly, that 3.5% increase in tech spend, it's exactly in line with the expected enterprise revenue change for the same period, also 3.5%.
Ah, interesting parallel.
And the sources explicitly connect this growing investment in digital tools to those projected cuts in staff and operating budgets. It's the core strategy being used to try and bridge that 4.9% efficiency gap.
So it's not just a possibility. The data suggests it's already happening, like a recurring theme.
Exactly. Increasing tech investment to enable reductions elsewhere, all in the name of driving productivity. It seems to be the annual playbook now.
So the hope, the sort of strategic bet, is that technology provides the leverage, the efficiency gains needed to soak up that growing workload,
And
even with fewer people and less cash.
that's the strategic imperative, yes.
Yeah.
Technology's view as the key lever, maybe the only lever, to unlock that necessary productivity jump.
Right.
And some perspectives frame the situation with real urgency. They state quite emphatically, it's crunch time for finance.
Crunch time. That sounds serious.
It implies the era of just thinking about digital transformation is over. The core technologies needed to fundamentally reimagine how finance works. They aren't some far-off future concept. They're mature enough, they're available now, and they're only going to get better.
So leaders need to act now.
That's the argument. Finance leaders need to be actively, strategically preparing for this digital future today because, look, it's arriving whether they feel ready or not.
It's kind of wild to think about the historical sweep of finance technology, isn't
Yeah.
it? One report puts it in perspective, mentioning finance tech starting like 5,000 years ago.
Yeah, Sumerian merchants, clay tablets, tracking livestock.
Exactly, recording stuff on clay tablets. And now, fast forward, we're talking about these incredibly disruptive digital tools, completely redefining financial records analysis, strategy, the whole thing.
It's quite a journey.
It really is.
And it highlights just how fundamental this current shift feels. It's not just another incremental improvement. And the research really hammers home that navigating this successfully needs a clear, compelling vision. What should finance look like in this digitally powered world?
Right, a clear destination.
And critically, a detailed, actionable roadmap to get there. They point out that the company's making real, measurable progress. They aren't stuck waiting for, perfect data, perfect tools, infinite capacity.
Yeah, waiting for perfect is waiting forever.
Exactly. They're acknowledging the reality, starting the journey, often step by step with the resources and data they actually have. They recognize the future is starting to happen now, and the time to get moving was probably yesterday.
Okay, so the stage is definitely set. We've got these increasing business demands hitting shrinking traditional resources, creating this quantifiable pressure for efficiency.
That 4.9% gap.
Right. And the only real answer seems to be leveraging technology. And if we look across the board, the technology leading the charge, the single biggest disruptor and enabler in this whole transformation, it's undeniably artificial intelligence.
Absolutely. Yeah. If there's one theme that just echoes across all the perspectives we looked at, it's the pervasive transformative impact of AI, and specifically the emergence and the growing capability of generative AI or Gen AI.
Gen AI, yeah, seems to be everywhere.
And the key message seems to be that Gen AI is moving fast beyond just experiments. The research highlights practical use cases already being deployed in finance functions, and they're having a measurable, decisive impact on efficiency, on capabilities. It's happening.
And some of the forecasts around AI's impact on the finance workforce are, well, they grab your attention. One report has a number that really makes you pause.
Which one?
A 42% forecasted reduction in finance function FTEs over the next 7 years, attributed directly to the transformative power of Gen AI.
22% over 7 years.
Yeah, that's a huge chunk of the current workforce.
It is a massive potential shift. And look, implies way more than just a smaller headcount. It signals a fundamental change in what kinds of roles will even exist in finance.
Right.
Who gets hired? And maybe most critically, what skill sets will be absolutely crucial for finance professionals to thrive in that environment? Because the capabilities AI brings will augment, change, or in some cases, pretty much replace certain existing activities and the skills tied to them.
Okay, so let's talk about how.
Yeah.
How does AI actually achieve this kind of time saving and transformation? Some of the articles point to a few key ways.
Yeah, one perspective outlines AI's ability to generate efficiency on multiple fronts. First,
Yeah.
the obvious one, automation of repetitive, rules-based tasks.
Like invoice processing, data entry.
Exactly. Invoice processing, data entry, standard reconciliations, all that often mundane, high-volume work that eats up so much human effort. AI and related automation can just handle huge chunks of that.
Okay, so automation. What else?
Second, mass data analysis and analytics. AI can process, analyze, spot patterns in enormous data sets way faster and often more effectively than traditional methods or humans alone. That capability is just foundational for generating insights.
Right, handling the sheer volume of data.
And third, it enhances precision in really crucial areas like cash flow forecasting and risk prevention. AI can pick up on subtle signals in the data that human eyes might miss, leading to more accurate predictions and, importantly, more proactive interventions.
And it's not just about processing the past or managing today, right?
Yeah.
The predictive power seems key.
Absolutely. With the sheer volume of data available now, AI can use advanced algorithms to significantly boost predictive capabilities, improve the reliability of projected scenarios. This is what helps move finance from just being scorekeepers and reporters
Looking backwards.
to being genuine forecasters and strategic advisors, which is a massive shift in value proposition.
Huge shift.
And linking this back to the workforce impact, one report explicitly states that AI will shrink FTEs but bolster finance value-add capabilities. That's the core trade-off. That's the strategic opportunity everyone's chasing.
Shrink FTEs, bolster value add.
Yeah,
Okay.
for specialists, right. Think tax experts, technical accountants. AI isn't necessarily getting rid of the role, but it will require new specialties. Their focus will shift, maybe less manual calculation and data digging,
Yeah.
and more towards validating AI outputs, designing effective AI prompts, handling the really complex, novel situations that AI just can't figure out yet.
So specialists evolve, they work with the AI. What about areas like planning, forecasting, and analysis, FP&A?
FP&A. For them, AI will fundamentally change the conversations.
How so?
Well, instead of spending endless hours manually gathering data, cleaning it up, arguing about calculation methods or data integrity in meetings, AI can handle a lot of that initial grunt work.
Right, the prep work.
So the conversation in FP&A meetings can shift, move to a higher level, discussing the implications of the insights the AI brings up, exploring different strategic options, focusing on actionable business decisions.
That's a powerful shift, from debating the numbers themselves to debating the strategy behind the numbers.
Exactly.
And what about management and admin roles?
For them, AI is expected primarily to boost productivity. AI can automate scheduling, draft emails, summarize long documents, handle various admin tasks, freeing up managers to focus on leading teams, strategic thinking, high-level problem solving.
Makes sense. Okay, this naturally leads us to skills. If the work changes this much, the skills needed have got to evolve too. One survey identifies the top 5 competency gaps in finance right now.
Yeah, what finance teams feel they lack or need more of today. Things like using BI and visualization tools effectively, critical thinking and problem solving, advanced data analytics tools, agility and change orientation, and good old business and industry acumen.
Okay, those are the current gaps. But how does AI change the picture?
Well, this is fascinating. The research suggests that the predicted impact of AI actually changes the urgency or the importance of closing these gaps when you think about future hiring and development.
How?
They found AI is expected to decrease the gap in the hiring importance for skills related to using biovisualization tools and advanced data analytics tools.
Decrease, so those skills become less important.
Not irrelevant, but it suggests AI isn't just a tool for those skills, it actually augments the human capability there. So while you still need people who understand data and visualization, the AI might do a lot of the heavy lifting, the complex query writing, the initial chart generation, meaning you might need fewer pure tool experts because the AI becomes like an expert assistant.
Ah, okay, so AI takes on some of the technical load within those domains. Interesting.
Precisely. But conversely, AI is expected to increase the gap and the hiring importance for critical thinking, problem solving, and agility change orientation.
Increase.
Because if AI is handling the routine analysis, flagging anomalies, maybe even suggesting actions, humans are needed even more to interpret that output, exercise judgment, solve the novel problems AI can't handle, and adapt quickly as both the tech and the business landscape keep shifting. These uniquely human skills become premium in an AI-augmented world.
Makes sense. The what do we do with this insight part?
Yeah.
And what about business acumen, understanding the business itself?
But the research suggests AI has minimal impact on the perceived gap or hiring importance there, which also makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Understanding the company strategy, the market, the regulations, how the business actually makes money that's fundamentally human, context, and judgment, it remains absolutely essential for applying AI insights effectively and making sure they're relevant and actionable in the real world. AI gives you patterns, humans provide the context and the business sense.
So the picture emerging is clear. Finance needs people who are really good at working with and orchestrating technology. People who can, as one report puts it, build and connect systems that interact with other systems. There's this rapidly growing premium on talent that understands technology and business, bridging that gap between the tech know-how and the strategic insight.
Absolutely. And the sources are clear. Those people, those integrators, they're already in short supply. It's a major talent challenge for organizations right now.
A challenge, especially for maybe more traditional finance leaders, right? Managing teams with data scientists, AI prompt engineers, roles that didn't exist a few years ago.
Exactly. It's a whole new ballgame in terms of team composition and the required skill mix. Finding, attracting, and integrating that talent is a huge hurdle.
Let's get a bit more concrete about where we're seeing Gen AI actually being deployed today. One report breaks down the solutions being actively used into three main types.
Right, a helpful categorization. They see three key ways Gen AI is moving from hype to reality. First, there's embedded Gen AI.
Embedded, like built in.
Exactly. This is probably the easiest to access because it's functionality built directly into third-party software that finance teams might already use or are looking at buying.
Okay, like what?
Think sophisticated variance analysis tools that don't just calculate the variance, but also automatically write narrative commentary explaining the why in plain English, or code generation features within tools helping users create Excel macros or simple scripts without needing to be programmers.
Useful.
Could also be automating manual journal entries based on structured data, or tools that generate real-time process maps with KPIs automatically highlighted. The AI is just part of the software's features, ideally seamless.
Okay, leveraging AI that comes with the package.
Right.
Makes sense. What's the second type?
That's native Gen AI. This is more about custom-developed solutions, using enterprise AI platforms to build applications for specific use cases within a particular company. Tailored stuff.
So bespoke AI built internally.
Pretty much. Examples cited include things like automating accounts, payable dispute resolution, having an AI analyze invoices, contracts, email chains to figure out discrepancies, or automating policy compliance checks for T&E or P cards based on set rules and materiality. Maybe building an FP&A digital advisor. You ask it business questions in natural language, and it gives you real-time insights from your data. Or setting up real-time supplier risk monitoring by having AI constantly scan news, financials, social media for warning signs. These are engineered for that specific company's needs and data.
Got it. Custom builds for specific internal problems. And the third type.
That's domain-specialized Gen AI. Think of these as pre-trained applications that are super specialized for a particular function, regulation, or process area within finance. Like expert systems on steroids, often powered by large language models, LLMs.
Okay, specialized expert AI.
Yeah. Examples could be an LLM specifically trained on, say, global tax regulations to help with compliance queries or planning, or similar specialized LLMs focused on complex areas like revenue recognition rules, IFRS 15, ASC 606, or internal audit procedures, or analyzing tricky trade promotion spend agreements. They leverage AI's ability to digest vast amounts of domain-specific text and data to offer expert-level help or automation.
That categorization really helps clarify where Gen AI is popping up. Embedded, native, domain specialized, and the research lists specific activities where AI is already making a difference.
Yes. Moving from theory to practice, we're seeing AI applied successfully in financial statement analysis, optimizing expense management, improving credit risk assessment precision, significantly boosting fraud detection and prevention.
Fraud detection, that's a big one.
Huge. Also providing more accurate, dynamic cash flow forecasting, automating the analysis of contracts and terms like in procure to pay or revenue cycles, and even automating parts of regulatory compliance monitoring by scanning new rules and internal transactions. These are tangible areas where AI is already delivering value today.
That really brings it home. It's not just concepts, it's already changing how core finance work gets done.
Definitely.
You mentioned FP&A earlier, financial planning and analysis, as an area where AI will change the conversations. Research specifically calls out FP&A as a key function, where AI isn't just theory, it's showing significant measurable impact already. They highlight this ambitious goal for FP&A teams, spending 80% or more of their time actually identifying business actions that will increase shareholder value.
Yeah, moving beyond just reporting what happened.
Exactly. Less reporting, more value creation.
And this is where AI offers this really compelling chance to accelerate. Research notes that despite years of effort, relatively few companies have truly achieved, world-class FP&A in the traditional sense, fully integrated, sophisticated modeling, deep business partnership. It's hard.
Very hard.
But AI, the argument goes, could help companies leapfrog, jump over some of those multi-year transformation struggles straight to higher levels of impact, kind of jump-starting advanced capabilities.
And there are stats to back that up, right, about AI investment and results, specifically in FP&A.
There are, and they're pretty persuasive. Surveys found that a significant chunk, like 60% of companies, have already invested in AI specifically for FP&A. And looking ahead, another 58% plan to invest in 2025. So clearly a major focus area.
Lots of activity.
But here's the really crucial stat for those who have already invested. A remarkable 84% said the AI solutions they implemented met or exceeded their expectations.
84% met or exceeded.
Right.
Wow, that's incredibly high for any tech implementation, let alone complex AI. Suggests early adopters are seeing real payback.
They absolutely are. And the research lists some of the quantifiable benefits these companies reported. Get this, a reported 55% increase in FP&A team capacity.
55%, freeing up more than half the team's time.
Incredible, right? They also reported a 40% reduction in cycle times for things like forecasting or reporting cycles, making them way faster.
Faster cycles, more capacity.
And maybe most critical for finance, a reported 30% increase in accuracy.
Okay, so AI isn't just faster, it's more accurate and gives teams back huge chunks of time to focus on that high-value strategic stuff. That 55% capacity boost directly fuels that 80% goal.
Exactly. It shifts the focus dramatically. And the research illustrates this potential by outlining some proven high-impact use cases in FP&A, contrasting the today state, even in advanced today, with the future state fully empowered by AI. Let's take data-driven forecast automation.
Okay, what's the jump there?
So an advanced today might have a statistical model learning from data to produce a forecast, maybe even a touchless forecast where an analyst just logs in to see the final numbers.
Right.
But the future state with AI, it's truly real-time, continuous forecasting. The models are constantly learning from streaming data, external signals, business activity, providing a live dynamic view of potential outcomes that updates instantly. It's like a living forecast, not just a periodic snapshot.
From scheduled exercise to continuous capability. Got it. What about scenario modeling?
Automated scenario modeling today might involve AI helping run simulations, maybe with an interactive interface to tweak variables, but the future state, that's where the AI itself identifies the relevant variables, potentially hundreds, that a human wouldn't even think of, and automatically runs the simulations for you, analyzing impacts, prioritizing the most likely or most critical scenarios. The AI is proactively exploring all the what-ifs.
That's way beyond manually setting up a few scenarios in a spreadsheet. And the third example.
Report build and initial variance analysis. Today, AI might help pull data into standard report formats, auto-calculate variances. But the future vision, it's individual, fully customized, real-time reporting.
No more standard reports.
Less reliance on them. People query the system using natural language. Show me sales trends for product X in the Northeast compared to forecasts. And the AI generates exactly that information, formatted how they want it, instantly, tailored to their specific question or decision.
So AI is transforming FP&A, moving it from being maybe integrated operators driving actions within set cycles to being these business-focused facilitators of performance improvement, armed with continuous insights.
That's the core shift described. Contrasting world-class FP&A today, integrated processes, business partnering, good visualization, faster cycles with FP&A fully empowered by AI.
And what does that fully empowered state look like?
It's characterized by continuous, instantaneous performance management, fully customized analytics at the tip of your tongue, real-time learning, forecasting, and scenario planning, automatically generated and prioritized business actions with predicted impacts, and intelligent, active data management handled by the AI, not the analyst.
And this isn't just one AI technology, right? It's a suite of tools working together.
Exactly. It's a combination. Things like AI agents, machine learning, generative AI itself, predictive analytics, large language models, advanced visualization tools. Their combined power delivers this vision.
And crucially, this isn't just theory. There are real-world examples.
Yes, absolutely. To show it's tangible, the research provides some compelling client examples across different industries, showing real results.
Okay, let's hear a couple. Concrete examples always help make it real.
Sure. Take AstraZeneca. They had challenges manually tracking and predicting patient recruitment for clinical trials, which is vital for budgets and resources. They implemented predictive forecasting using AI.
And the
Accurate enrollment predictions, which allowed for much more efficient resource and budget allocation. It minimized costly delays, avoided overspending, a direct impact on R&D efficiency.
That's a clear link. AI driving operational improvement in a critical process. Another one.
There's a great one about a publisher validation process. They had millions of publishers and a huge data lake, but could only manually validate a tiny fraction for payments using spreadsheets. Slow, error-prone. You know the drill. By implementing an AI workflow and automation tool, they massively increase validation volume and get this, reduce the manual processing effort by 80%.
80% reduction in manual work. That's huge productivity gain.
It really is. They also mentioned the CFO's automation team. They'd kind of hit a wall with traditional automation, so they used an AI-powered tool designed to help identify other AI use cases.
And AI to find AI opportunities. Meta.
Right. And it worked. It helped them pinpoint 7 high-potential use cases, things like monthly flash reporting, contract compliance, collections analytics, with the potential to boost automation by over 50% and improve efficiency by 25%.
And other examples like Americold finding 40+ revenue enhancement use cases with AI, or Howmet simulating automation feasibility in complex areas. It really underscores that AI isn't just pilots or experiments anymore.
No, it's driving real, measurable results across diverse finance activities and industries. It's a powerful force, reshaping not just how finance works, but fundamentally what's possible.
So, okay, AI, especially Gen AI, is clearly the headliner here. But the sources make it really clear that this whole digital transformation isn't just an AI story. AI operates within this ecosystem of other critical technologies, right? They're all enablers working together.
That's absolutely right. You need the supporting cast. These other technologies provide the essential infrastructure, the connectivity, the data flows that let AI actually function and deliver that value. Cloud computing is a massive one, foundational.
Yeah, cloud comes up everywhere.
Forbes calls it a key player. Deloitte highlights it too. It's essential for making data accessible anytime and anywhere in a unified way, which is critical because AI is hungry for data, needs lots of clean data.
What are the main practical benefits of cloud for finance, according to the research?
Well, it fosters team collaboration, shared access to data tools, regardless of where people are. It vastly improves visibility, not just into financial data, but also non-financial operational info, which AI needs for richer insights.
Right, broader context.
And it offers significant flexibility in IT costs, makes it easy to increase or reduce allocated resources based on business needs, often more cost-effective than managing your own servers. Plus, it's seen as the platform needed for things like embedded finance to really scale.
And its impact on core systems, like ERP, big changes there too.
Oh, yeah. The shift to cloud-based ERP systems is becoming the standard. That's important for a few reasons. Cloud ERP means continuous updates, you're always on the latest version. It naturally pushes companies towards standardizing processes more.
Less customization.
Generally, yes. And critically, it enables organizations to move away from building tons of custom stuff inside their core ERP and instead consume specialized apps and microservices that run on top of or alongside that cloud ERP foundation. It's a shift from monolithic systems to a more modular, connected ecosystem.
Okay, more like building blocks. Speaking of connectivity, Forbes brings up embedded finance and open banking. Can you break those down quickly?
Sure. Embedded finance is basically integrating financial services directly into non-financial platforms. Think getting loan approval right inside a car buying app, or seamless payment processing in e-commerce that feels invisible to the user.
So finance becomes just a feature within another experience.
Exactly. The goal is better customer engagement, streamlined transactions making finance disappear in a good way, and potentially new revenue streams for non-financial companies.
And open banking, how does that fit in?
Open banking, often driven by regulations like PSD2 in Europe, is about sharing customer banking data securely with approved third-party services, usually via standardized APIs, those connection points between software.
Okay. For finance teams, this provides new technological levers. It can revolutionize the financial landscape by opening up new opportunities for automating financial processes. Accessing bank data in real time via APIs lets finance automate reconciliation, improve cash visibility, integrate banking data directly into planning tools. Lots of potential.
Interesting. Both seem to rely heavily on that seamless data flow and integration. What about blockchain and decentralized finance, DeFi? Always buzzwords.
They are, and Forbes touches on their relevance. Blockchain's core benefits for finance come from that distributed, immutable ledger idea. The sources list things like immediate, reliable authentication of transactions, complete traceability of everything recorded, secure asset transfer without needing a middleman, and automatic execution of contracts using smart contracts. And the bottom line for finance, what's the outcome of those benefits?
The potential is a trusted, low-cost solution. Blockchain could speed up audits because the record is transparent and can't be easily changed. It could reduce errors and manipulation, potentially increase tax efficiency and lower collection costs through transparency, and help with cybersecurity challenges due to its inherent security design.
And DeFi builds on top of blockchain.
Yeah, decentralized finance. It's about financial services, lending, borrowing, trading built on blockchain tech, but operating without the traditional intermediaries like banks or exchanges. Forbes notes its potential to democratize access globally, reducing barriers. Mentions growing interest, but acknowledges it's still an evolving space.
Feels like a bigger, more systemic shift, potentially. Let's bring it back to day-to-day operations. Modernizing financial tools, sometimes called FinOps in this context, automating payments, reconciliation.
Right. FinOps here seems to mean leveraging tech to automate those core operational processes. The research emphasizes linking platforms, ERP, accounting software, treasury systems, bank accounts using APIs to centralize and automate workflows. Eliminating manual data entry between systems is key.
So you can trigger payments directly from your ERP.
Exactly. Launch payments directly. And crucially, making reconciliation much, much easier and more accurate. Automated tools can match invoices, POs, other transactions with bank statements almost instantly, error-free. This massively improves accuracy, cuts manual effort, frees people from that tedious matching grind.
Sounds like a huge time saver.
Yeah.
Finally, expanding on that cloud ERP point, what's the bigger picture of how ERP itself is evolving, according to Deloitte?
Deloitte notes that while the core ERP is still vital, these specialized finance apps and microservices are increasingly challenging traditional ERP as the only place finance functionality lives.
Right, the ecosystem idea again.
Yeah. Big ERP vendors are definitely integrating new tech like automation and AI into their platforms, but new players with best-of-breed, specialized apps for specific tasks are also emerging. The strategic shift, enabled by cloud, is away from companies heavily customizing their core ERP towards buying and integrating these specialized apps around a more standardized cloud ERP core.
So the finance system becomes more like an integrated suite of services, less one giant custom beast.
Precisely. And this changes the work. Deloitte talks about the end of human middleware.
Human middleware.
Yeah, where finance pros manually moved or reformatted data between systems because the tech couldn't talk to itself. Now, technology is getting smarter, more connected, integrating itself via APIs, so people shift focus from being the app, doing those manual linking tasks, to using the app, leveraging the integrated system to get insights and drive value.
It's really clear these aren't just isolated tools. They form this connected digital fabric that supports and enables that AI-driven transformation we talked about.
Couldn't have said it better. It's an ecosystem.
Okay, so this profound tech shift, it obviously has massive implications for the people working in finance and the environment they work in. It's not just about plugging in new software. It's fundamentally changing the workforce and the workplace.
Absolutely. One perspective is very clear. The finance function will likely get significantly leaner, particularly in those operational finance areas: order to cash, procure to pay, basic transactional accounting, the high-volume, process-driven stuff. That's where automation hits hardest.
So if the transactional finance factory side gets automated, What happens to the focus, the skills of the people who remain or the people hired in the future?
Well, with most routine operations becoming touchless transactions handled by tech, the human finance team will double down on business insights and service, as one report puts it.
Double down on insights and service, okay.
The core role shifts dramatically, less processing and historical reporting, much more providing strategic guidance and support to the business. Business partnering, for instance, moves way upstream.
Upstream how?
Less about just helping with the annual budget or explaining last month's variances after the fact. More about real-time scenario planning, advanced predictive forecasting, using sophisticated visualization to help business leaders make complex commercial decisions as they're happening. Human teams focus on the nuanced, judgment-heavy, analytical, and advisory work.
That requires a completely different mindset, different skills. It's a fundamentally different job description for a lot of traditional roles, isn't it?
It truly is. And it requires new operating models to emerge. Research talks about new service delivery models where robots and algorithms aren't just tools, they're essentially part of a more diverse workforce.
Diverse how? Robots plus.
Robots plus traditional employees, but also integrated freelancers, gig workers, maybe even crowdsourced talent for specific projects. Companies will constantly weigh the benefits and costs of automation versus different human delivery models onshore, offshore, shared services. Finance as a service, consuming specialized capabilities on demand, is expected to gain a lot of traction.
So in that environment, who does the human work? What does that look like day to day?
People get freed up from the repetitive stuff to focus on work needing human judgment, creativity, interaction. It's described as exception-based and insight-driven activities, work that's fundamentally investigative, problem-solving, advisory.
So no more copying and pasting data.
Hopefully not. The days of manually moving data between systems or spending hours formatting standard reports should largely vanish. Human finance pros will design, oversee, manage the automated tools, stepping in for exceptions or to explore the insights surfaced by the AI.
And this demands those new skill sets we touched on earlier. Let's dive a bit deeper into the specific talent mix the research foresees.
Yeah, that premium on talent that understands technology and business is a constant refrain. One perspective paints a picture of a much more diverse, specialized finance team. They argue finance needs data scientists and design professionals.
Okay, data scientists make sense. Why design professionals?
To ensure the output reports, dashboards, interfaces is intuitive, visually compelling, genuinely helpful to business users, making complex information easy to understand. But they also list storytellers and cognitive psychologists.
Storytellers and cognitive psychologists in finance.
Seriously,
Right.
it highlights the radical shift. Storytellers are needed to effectively communicate complex insights from data and AI in a narrative that actually resonates with business leaders, influences decisions. Cognitive psychologists can help understand how humans interact with and trust AI, how to design effective human-AI workflows, maybe even analyze outputs from behavioral economics models driven by AI.
Wow, it's a world away from traditional accounting roles.
It absolutely is. Finance pros will spend way less time prepping data, way more time asking strategic questions. What does this pattern AI found mean for our strategy? How do we use this insight to close performance gaps? What are the potential actions and their financial impacts? This requires a much deeper grasp of core finance principles, capital allocation, resource deployment, business strategy, but applied in a forward-looking, decision-focused way. It's a big step up for many.
So what specific qualities should companies be looking for when hiring for this future finance team?
Beyond the tech and data skills, several key qualities are emphasized. A strong customer service orientation, because finance is providing internal services and insights, flexibility and adaptability because change is constant, and excellent collaboration skills. Teams are more interdisciplinary, working closely with IT and the business. Everyone needs to elevate finance's value through communication, showing impact, influencing decisions, and this presents a huge challenge for CFOs. One report is pretty blunt. CFOs need to get comfortable being uncomfortable leading people with skill sets you don't fully understand.
That sounds tough.
It means relying on experts in AI, data science, areas they might not have personal expertise in. Working closely with HR to define future talent needs, write new job descriptions, adapt performance reviews to value collaboration, tech savviness, strategic influence alongside traditional finance skills. The sources acknowledge implementing tech is often easier than changing the talent model, the structure, the culture. That takes time, effort, careful management.
And how does the actual workplace environment change to support all this? Physical, virtual.
Finance organizations are expected to become flatter and more distributed, more agile teams formed around projects or business needs, less rigid hierarchy. Real-time data access becomes non-negotiable wherever the data or the person is. Batch processing becomes nostalgic. Systems need to deliver streaming data, minimal latency.
And self-service becomes the norm.
That's the prediction. Business users will increasingly expect and be empowered to access financial info and run basic reports themselves, often via intuitive interfaces. Though finance might feel uneasy letting go of that data gatekeeper role initially.
So less reliance on finance running every report.
Exactly. Business users get answers via digital voice, interactive dashboards, maybe smart agents proactively push insights AI thinks they need. Spreadsheets full of manually compiled data get replaced by direct access to visually rich, intuitive information. This also ramps up the urgency around security and data governance, naturally, as data lakes get exposed to more users and systems.
And how we interact with the systems changes too.
Dramatically. Chatbots are expected to become a primary way for finance pros to query systems, request data, maybe automate simple tasks. Digital assistants, like the ones we use personally but integrated into work systems, will fill roles junior analysts used to do, supporting internal finance workers or even external customers with simple queries. This again highlights the need for great data visualization, making complex info clear quickly. And there's an interesting paradox mentioned. Despite the move to distributed teams and real-time access, the future might actually require more physical proximity sometimes.
More proximity. Why?
Especially in early phases of complex projects, during intense problem solving, or when deep cross-functional collaboration needs the rapid iteration and shared understanding that often comes easier face-to-face. So maybe a hybrid model, distributed for routine work, co-located for key innovation bursts or complex challenges?
It really paints a picture of a completely different structure, needing a vastly different skill mix, new leadership styles, and a fundamental change in the whole experience of working in finance.
A total transformation.
Okay, so bringing this all together,
Yeah.
we've sketched out this picture of finance heading into 2025 and beyond. Under pressure, enabled by tech like AI, changing its focus, workforce, workplace, everything. What does this actually mean for finance leaders, for anyone working in or with finance? How do you navigate this? Where do you even start?
Well, the absolute starting point, according to the research, is recognizing the urgency and having that clear vision and strategy for finance in a digital world.
Yeah.
You've got to define what that future state looks like for your company and have a defined roadmap to that future. Waiting isn't really an option anymore.
Because
Because to stay competitive, companies simply must get better at forecasting and management and way more efficient operationally. Some integrated platforms are mentioned as examples of solutions that try to leverage these technologies to deliver both effectiveness and efficiency.
But the scope seems so huge. How do companies figure out where to begin?
Good question. Some practical advice comes through. First, really define the business case for AI and digital investments. Quantify the potential efficiency savings and the effectiveness benefits for specific processes. Don't just do tech for tech's sake.
Right, make the case.
Second, identify and target the best return use cases. Find those specific processes or activities offering the biggest AI opportunity for your organization. Then prioritize those high-impact use cases and build them into your digital roadmap. There are even tools mentioned designed specifically to help with this identification and planning process.
And there were some concrete, maybe smaller ideas for just getting started, even if you're not ready for a massive overhaul yet.
Yeah, a whole menu of options, actually. Things like assign a small team just to research what other finance organizations are doing with digital tools, learn from peers. Pick one really labor-intensive process you have now, like processing a specific invoice type, and just imagine automating it away completely. Then think through the impact on people, organization, talent.
That's a good thought experiment.
Or even visit an automated factory. Get inspiration from how automation works in a physical setting the principles can translate.
Visit a factory for finance insights. Definitely thinking outside the box there.
It forces a different perspective.
Yeah.
Other ideas. Look at decisions currently tied to the calendar, quarterly reports, monthly reviews, and rethink them for real time. Develop specific use cases for real-time automation, even small ones. Observe your own use of self-service tools in daily life, and imagine bringing that ease to work.
Yeah, why is work tech often so clunky compared to consumer tech?
Right. Ask your business colleagues how ready they are for self-service analytics. Gauge the demand outside finance. Talk to your outsourcing providers about their automation strategies and how you might benefit. And crucially, use scenario planning. Specifically think through how tech changes what work gets done, where it's done, onshore, offshore, bot, human, and by whom? Skills contractors. That's vital for workforce planning.
Those are really concrete steps, moving from just thinking about it to actually planning. But underlying all this tech and process change, there's that fundamental challenge both sources kept highlighting: data quality.
Yes, the data challenge. The persistent, often underestimated elephant in the room. One report is pretty blunt. Many companies will still struggle mightily to clean up their data messes.
Why is it so hard? Fixing data seems like it should be straightforward.
Because aligning and integrating data from disparate legacy systems, different departments, acquisitions, it's hard and tedious work. It's not glamorous. It's getting into the weeds of inconsistent formats, commas versus periods, different abbreviations for the same thing, defining fields consistently, standardizing names, all the small stuff that stops data from talking to itself properly.
And why does this messy data derail digital transformation and AI so badly?
Because garbage in, garbage out, right? AI models need clean, reliable, high-quality data to learn from and generate accurate insights. Automated processes break if the data inputs are inconsistent or wrong. Data problems hide beneath the surface and just sabotage even the best tech implementations. Data governance, the policies, processes, standards for managing data is absolutely critical here. One analogy used is that it's like flossing.
Flossing.
Yeah, everyone knows it's important, but consistently doing the hard work is the real challenge.
So who should own this?
Yeah.
Any suggestions on roles?
Well, the idea of a chief data officer comes up, but maybe even more crucial is having a data evangelist within finance. Someone passionate, influential, dedicated to driving continuous data improvement, championing data quality. Ultimately, though, it's framed as a cultural issue, too. Leadership has to genuinely value data quality and make it a priority, investing the time and resources needed.
What actions can companies take?
Suggestions include things like convening data summits to review critical data quality for key analyses, identifying the worst problem areas, and launching focused improvement initiatives.
So alongside investing in shiny new tech, you absolutely have to invest in cleaning up and governing the foundational data. They go together.
Absolutely. Hand in hand. And the research confirms finance tech investment is increasing by that expected 3.5%. The shift to cloud ERP is highlighted again as a way to potentially reduce some complexity and cost while boosting functionality, ushering in a potential golden age of technology for finance because powerful tools are becoming more accessible. Companies really need a clear roadmap to the cloud if they aren't already well on their way.
And finally, beyond the tech, beyond the data, leadership and culture. Essential for navigating all this.
Crucially important, strong, adaptable leaders are needed to navigate the disruption, especially in areas like traditional outsourcing as automation takes hold. Leaders need to build and manage these new, dynamic, cross-functional, possibly distributed teams. Creating a real self-service culture isn't just about providing tools, it's about actively cultivating data literacy in the business, focusing on great user experiences for accessing information.
And hiring needs to change.
Definitely. A key piece of advice is to look at every new hire through the lens of that 2025 and beyond future state. Are they bringing the right mix? Technical skills, business sense, collaboration, adaptability, customer focus. Are they built for the future finance function?
So it's really a holistic transformation, isn't it? Strategy, tech investment, including cloud foundations and emerging AI that relentless focus on data quality, evolving talent and skills, and critically adaptable leadership, fostering a culture of learning, collaboration, and self-service. All these pieces have to move together.
That's the challenge, getting all those gears turning in sync.
Okay, so to wrap this up, the overarching message from all this research seems incredibly clear, incredibly consistent. The finance function is going through a fundamental, technology-driven transformation on a scale maybe not seen in generations.
It's huge.
It's rapidly moving towards being leaner, vastly more automated, operating in real time, and shifting its core focus away from just historical reporting.
Towards delivering significantly more strategic insights and real value back to the business.
And the major forces driving this wave, as we've really dug into, are the pervasive capabilities of AI, especially that rapid maturation of Gen AI that's leading to dramatic shifts in workforce skills needed, unlocking huge efficiency gains.
And this AI transformation is enabled and amplified by those foundational technologies. Cloud computing, the potential of blockchain and DeFi, still evolving maybe, the connectivity from open banking, and the ongoing modernization of FinOps tools and core ERP systems. It all works together.
It's a massive challenge, no question. Significant hurdles updating legacy systems, retraining or upskilling people, and that persistent, unglamorous, but vital work of fixing data quality.
Definitely challenging.
But it is also an immense opportunity, isn't it? An opportunity for finance to shed the tedious manual stuff
Yeah.
and really elevate its role, become that true strategic partner everyone talks about, driving value, influencing decisions.
And, echoing the sources, this journey, it might not always be smooth or easy. There will be complexities, resistance, bumps in the road for sure.
Of course.
But it's undeniably going to be an exciting period of innovation and evolution for finance. The future, if organizations navigate this well, is about being better, faster, and probably less expensive in operations.
Better, faster, cheaper.
Mm.
The trifecta.
And critically, creating substantially more value for the company by enabling smarter, faster, more data-driven decisions everywhere. As Peter Drucker famously said, the best way to predict the future is to create it.
And maybe that's the ultimate challenge, the ultimate invitation for finance professionals and leaders today. We've taken this deep dive into what leading research suggests about this future that's arriving fast. The changes are huge, the technologies are here and getting better constantly, and the opportunity for finance to provide immense strategic value. It's clearer than ever.
So, given everything we've discussed, the forecasted reduction in traditional transactional roles, that corresponding increase in need for strategic skills, critical thinking, data expertise, tech fluency, collaboration, if you had to pick one thing, what is the single most important skill you, the listener, think a finance professional should focus on developing right now to not just survive, but to really thrive and maybe even lead in this rapidly approaching digital future?
That's a great question to leave people with. Something to really ponder as you think about your own path forward in this changing landscape.
Food for thought.
Indeed. The future of finance is being built as we speak, and it's going to look very, very different. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep building that future.